All right, hey, welcome to the first live Q&A on Think It Live Pro. Now, I have to apologize uh, for the place where I am. I'm in the hospital right now, and I'm actually disturbing my colleagues a little, but I hope you'll forgive me for that. So let's get into these questions. I sent an email um, to you guys a few hours ago, asking for some questions before the live Q&A, and I got a few responses. I'm gonna share my screen with you so you can see them uh, in real time. All right. So the first question is, hey Radu, my question this week: how do you recommend doing lateral raises? Dumbbells in front, like Greg does, or to the side? Um, the ideal way to do lateral raises in front of you, because that is how you engage um, the lateral deltoid. Otherwise, you do a lot of traps. So yes, you do have to keep the dumbbells in front of you. And then he asks if the close grip bench press is an okay substitute for tricep push downs. Um, the close grip bench press is a great triceps builder, but it is a compound exercise. So it actually targets your chest as well and also your shoulders. If you want to isolate your triceps, um, that is not a good way to do it. You have to do maybe skull crushers or dumbbell overhead extensions. This is how you isolate the triceps. I would say that it is a great triceps builder, but it's not an okay substitute for triceps push down. Okay, next question. Let me share the screen. How would you go about incorporating calisthenics or just full-on body weight workouts when it comes to trying to achieve the perfect body? I don't have time for the gym, so I'm wondering what you would suggest to achieve physique. If you don't have time to train, then yes, you can do full body workouts. You can do 2 workouts per week, maybe Sunday and Thursday. Um, and with two workouts a week, you can make great gains. I would only focus on compound exercises. You would do an exercise for each of the muscle groups. You would do a bench press, bench press, weighted chin-ups, standing press, and some leg exercises. And you can't add a lot of volume into that session because uh, it would take absurdly long, and you wouldn't be able to maintain high performance. The quality of the reps you're doing would go down. So I would say that you should do maximum 5 compound exercises, one big compound exercise muscle groups, and that would be enough to make gains. Of course, it's not ideal, but it will be enough to make gains. Um, in terms of calisthenics, I'm actually not that good with bodyweight training. I never trained strictly with bodyweight, so I don't really know how to incorporate weight lifting routine. But I think that if you cannot get to the gym, you can do some chin-ups, some pull-ups, some straight bar dips, and you can have one workout per week that is strictly bodyweight. And actually, for a complete bodyweight program, I would recommend Greg's Bodyweight Mastery. Greg is good with bodyweight training. He can do all that stuff. I actually never got into that. So I'm sorry, but I really can't give you good advice on calisthenics. Next question. Let's see here. Hey Radu, I've been lifting for almost 8 months now, 5 days a week. I follow Mark Marcus Total Six Pack program. All right, I don't know who that is. I'm 41 years old, 5'4", 63. Okay, let's see the question. Okay, do you think your program is equally effective for older lifters like myself or for young lifters like yourself? based on my reading and some blog comments, the older lifters, someone who start lifting late, being out of shape, tend to have issues of stubborn body fat, especially around belly. Not many programs talk about this issue. I think that any program that is efficient for young people is also efficient for older guys. The only difference is that when you're older, you make slower progress. Recovery is a bit compromised. Your testosterone levels are lower. You build muscle a bit slower. You lose fat a little bit slower. But overall, to do to change much. Um, you do need more protein though. The older you are, the more protein you need because um, older bodies don't process protein as well as younger bodies, and you need a larger protein dose in one meal to start the protein synthesis response. Usually, young people need about 20 grams to start protein synthesis, but older guys should increase that to about 30. So um, we recommend having a lower protein intake usually to keep testosterone high. But if you are older, let's say after older than 45 years old, I would recommend getting about 1.1 grams of protein per pound of body weight, maybe 1.2, and that in kilograms would be about 2.2 grams per kilogram. That would give you enough protein to support muscle growth. Okay. Yes. So to answer your question, yes, I think the programs are well suited for older people. Any program that has enough volume and is well, the routines have a good combination of volume, intensity, and frequency. So a smart and intelligent program will be effective for everyone. Okay. Let's share the screen again. Let's see. How do we know when we need reverse dieting? Well, you don't really need reverse dieting. Actually, I wrote about reverse dieting in a bonus report that for Shred Smart that I'm going to send you guys soon. Reverse dieting basically is was it has a lot of flaws. You don't actually need it because the premise behind reverse dieting is that there are three claimed benefits of reverse dieting. First of all, that it reduces fat gain when you move into maintenance. Second is that it builds metabolic capacity. And third, that it prevents binge eating after the diet is over. Now, I think that reverse dieting is not well suited for neither of those. First of all, the idea that you gain fat faster when you move into maintenance. How is that possible? Because you go from a deficit to maintenance, not in a surplus. Yes, if you go from a deficit straight into a surplus, then of course you're going to gain fat at a rapid rate because your body is metabolically adapted to save energy and to store as much as it can because you've been in a deficit for a long time. But we're not stupid. We're not going to go straight from a deficit into a surplus. You do 2 weeks at maintenance, maybe 3 if you really want to be sure that you reverse some of the metabolic adaptations. But if you go from a deficit into maintenance, you're not going to gain fat because the very definition of maintenance is that you eat as many calories as your body burns. Now, the other thing that reverse dieting builds metabolic capacity. There are no actual studies that show that this is true. There are some studies that show that your body's energy expenditure goes up if you overeat a lot in a meal, but it only goes up a little, and that increase in metabolic rate is there if you continue to overeat. So actually, let's say that you need to eat 1,000 calories to speed up your metabolism by 150 calories. So you are actually, the benefit you get is negated by the fact that you have to eat a lot of food. And that over time, you cannot build your metabolic capacity by reverse. Of course, when you're bulking, you do want to eat as much as possible. You want to increase your calories as much as you can without gaining fat, but you can't uh, increase your metabolism forever by doing reverse dieting. And the third claim benefit that it prevents binge eating after the diet is over, I think that's true, but that is mostly true for bodybuilders, because bodybuilders to get in contest shape usually have to diet for about 6 months. And of course, when you've been in a deficit for 6 months, you crave everything. Your body physically for food. And usually guys, if they don't exercise constraint, after the show is over, they go and do they binge for several days, and they gain a lot of that fat back. I've heard the guys that gained all the fat that they lost in 6 months in about 3 weeks of binge eating. So you can imagine how psychologically stressful that is, seeing all your hard work thrown away like that in 3 weeks. And yes, I do think that for bodybuilders, reverse dieting is a good thing. First of all, you increase your calories to maintenance to eliminate the calorie deficit, so you don't actually keep losing weight and fat. And then you start increasing calories slowly until your body weight stabilizes at about your set point. Let's say you don't want to stay at 5 to 6% body fat, because that's unhealthy after you've been dieting for so long. So you have to increase your body fat levels to a more healthy level. That's, let's say, maybe 8 to 10%. That means that you do have to gain some fat back. So yes, I think that in that situation, reverse dieting is a good choice. Let's see the final question. What's the best way to beat plateaus? I don't think that there is a best way. It depends on the situation. You first have to identify what the cause of the plateau is. Actually, strength progression happens automatically if you do things right. Strength progression is the natural consequence of training and eating in the right way. If you don't make progress, it means that one of the factors that contribute to a good training routine or good nutrition is missing. And you have to identify what that is. For some people, it may be that they don't do enough volume. For most people, it may be the progression model. For other people, it may be that they don't get enough sleep or they don't eat enough. You first have to identify what causes the plateau, and then you have to fix that issue. To do that, you have to do a little bit of studying, so you see what are the factors that make you progress. You can do that on my website. I have several articles on how to strength plateaus. Next question. Let me share the screen again. Hey Radu, I realize that you have supplements in the top of your pyramid as being the least important factor during a cut. That's right. However, assuming that all other factors are in order, what is your take on adding supplements that are said to help aid in fat loss? Is it worthwhile to consider? Specifically, if possible, your review on MCT oil, CLA, and L-carnitine. That seems to be the major ones marked. All the best, Rune from Denmark. Well, for any question related to supplements, I would recommend you go to examine.com. I don't know if you're familiar with this website. This is your unbiased source of nutrition on supplements, and it's great. So, for example, if you want to see if L-carnitine is a good supplement, wait a second, L-carnitine, you go here, and you will see that you get an awesome article about everything that you need to know. So let's see. Things to know. Usually, you can see you can just read this summary and get the main idea on that supplement. Now, you're asking what my opinion is. I think that you don't need any fat loss supplements. I think that they can help a little bit. They do make a bit of a difference, but I would say that it's under 5%, really. In my opinion, from what I've read and learned, I think it's under 5%. I think that they may help with fat mobilization in certain situations, but they don't make that much of a difference. Now, MCT oil, from what I've read, I think that is useless. CLA may be may provide some benefits, but I'm really not that well educated on supplements. I think that you don't need that either. And L-carnitine, from what I know, is useless unless you are unhealthy. If you're healthy, L-carnitine doesn't do much to improve fat loss because you already have enough levels in your body. All right, let's see the next question. How do you feel about creatine? It seems like a cheap and effective way to break through plateaus. No, it also seems logical that Greg would have at least tried it, but he doesn't talk about it. I think that Greg actually never did a complete cycle of creatine. Creatine is the most researched molecule in sports nutrition. Tens of studies you can find on creatine, and it is one of the few that is actually effective. Creatine can help increase your strength a little bit. Yes, as you said. I don't know if it's gonna help you break through a plateau, because that plateau probably is caused by something else. Maybe your volume or your intensity or the frequency of your training is not well set up, and creatine probably cannot make that much of a difference to make up for that flaw in your training. But I do recommend it. If you want to take creatine, go ahead. There are no side effects. There are no negative uh, consequences of taking it. And as you said, it's cheap, and you only have to take 5 grams a day, which is great. I personally never took creatine, and I have no idea how much of a difference it makes, how stronger it makes you, but how much stronger it makes you. But if you want to try it, go ahead and let me know what effects it has on you. Okay, let's see his second question. Why incline bench press? Let me share the screen again. Why incline bench press? I do it but my front shoulder, upper back seems always sore. Also, incline seems more susceptible to plateaus than flat bench. The only mention I heard from Greg is that incline works the top back so that your lower back muscles don't grow to look like boobies. I've never seen male muscles that look like boobies though. Actually, if you don't develop your upper chest, your chest is flat at the top, and you do have that sweep at the bottom, but your chest doesn't stand out. You don't have that cool line in the middle of your chest. Actually, I remember that Mike Matthews used to have a photo of him. Let me see if I can find him. If I can find it. Mike Matthews, Frank Bench. It's probably going to take me a while to find, but actually Mike had this issue. If you go on his website, if you have time to search for that picture, he said that in the first years of lifting, he used to do only flat pushing movements and no incline, and you could see that his upper chest was really lagging, and although he was muscular, he wasn't that aesthetic. And the reason we recommend the incline bench press over the flat bench is exactly for that for that reason. So your chest is broad, is wide, and you have that line in the middle, which looks cool. And yes, it is true that the incline is going to plateau more often because it's a harder exercise. You can lift lighter. You can lift that much as you can on flat. And if your shoulders are always sore, I think that you should check your form, your exercise form. I had this issue uh, this December. Um, my I think it was my left shoulder joint that was bothering me, and the reason it was bothering me it was because I was benching very low on my chest on incline, which is not a good thing to do because it puts your shoulders in an unnatural position. I think that these big exercises, these big popular exercises, shouldn't cause you pain if you do them correctly. There are some weird exercises that I think give you pain no matter how you perform them, but these big compound exercises that everyone does, if you perform them correctly, they shouldn't hurt. You should feel discomfort but never pain. If you feel pain, either don't do the exercise or change it. Change the form, the variation. All right, next. Hey Radu, concerning intermittent fasting, what do you think about homemade smoothies? Mix of veggies, fruits, protein powder to replace a meal. I think that's a great idea. Why not? The only reason I don't recommend protein shakes or shakes in general is that they're not that as filling as solid food. If you get 50 grams of protein from a protein shake, it doesn't come close to 50 grams of protein from chicken breast, the or cottage cheese or eggs. Solid food, solid protein is always going to be more filling than liquid protein. Now, if you add veggies and fruits to that, you're going to get some fiber, and that will slow down digestion, and you will be satiated for a longer time. I think you can do it. Try it and see how that works for you. Personally, if I have shakes when I'm cutting, I feel hungrier than if I ate a meal, a solid meal. But again, you can try. Does it matter in what form I consume food in terms of staying satiated? For example, a pan of fried veggies versus just blending them all in a Vitamix and drinking it. Hmm. Uh, I think I don't understand your question. I think so. You're asking if you can fry your veggies. Let me share the screen so you see what I'm talking about. Uh, it doesn't matter in terms of the nutrients you're getting, but it may make a difference in how satiated you feel. Uh, I would say that chewing your food is always going to be more satisfying than drinking. All right. Hey, Rado, I've been working and training for the past 8 weeks. I am 182 centimeters, that's 6 feet. Start my weight at 75 kilograms, body fat 16%. After 8 weeks, my cutting and calorie deficit is around 1500. I have dropped to 70 kilograms, but my body weight only dropped to 14%, meaning I only dropped 2%. How can I drop more fat? I'm doing heavy lifting 3 times a week based on aggressive fat loss program. Please advise, Jarvis. This progress is good, Jarvis. You obviously lost a lot of fat. Your abs are starting to come in. Um, you may I think that's more than 2%. Definitely more than 2% body fat. In the first one, I'd say that you were close to 20%, to be honest. And in the last one, I'd say you were about 15 or 16, maybe. Yeah, I think so. And I think you're doing great. This rate of fat loss is good. Just keep it up. Fat loss takes time. You shouldn't lose more than 1% of your body weight per week, because if you lose fat faster than that, um, that's when you start to lose muscle. That's when you start to lose performance. Ideally, you would want to lose maximum 1% of your body weight per week. And I think you're doing great. Keep it up. You obviously know that a calorie deficit creates fat loss, and keep up what you're doing. Hey Radu, really excited for the first live Q&A. Yeah, me too. I've noticed that you wear a job on some of your videos. I just got one off eBay, but I wanted to hear your thoughts on how accurate it is, how accurately it estimates calories, and other tips you might have for using it to full potential. Actually, Colin, I stopped using that job on wristband. The reason for that is because it was too bulky and it really bothered me during the day. But I think that its main use is to track how many steps you're doing, so you can see how active you are during the day, and you can more accurately determine your maintenance calories. For me, it was more of a fun fun gadget, but I wasn't really basing any of my diet decisions on and not even how many calories I burned in one day and how many calories I could eat extra because I maybe did more exercise. Because I noticed that most of these fitness wristbands, they overestimate how many calories you're burning. Uh, One cool, pretty accurate estimate calorie equation is that you burn your weight in kilograms for each kilometer that you walk or that you run. So, for example, um, I think you're living in the US. You probably go by miles. Um, you can use Google to make that conversion, but for each kilometer that you walk, you burn about your weight in kilograms in calories. Okay, next question. Hello Radu, finished reading the Shred Smart program. Excellent read. I've already created my goal card and I will be 10% body fat by uh, 14 September 2016. I want to thank you in advance for helping me meet this goal of mine. Question one. Reading the intermediate workout training program, I noticed you prefer straight sets over reverse primary training. Is it just preference, or are there actual benefits to straight sets versus other methods? Time is of the essence. I want to maximize my training and growth at the gym. Yeah, I want to explain why I chose straight sets over reverse primary training for my program. The main reason is because I noticed in talking to you guys, a lot of people were reaching a plateau training with reverse primary training because they were doing the same thing over and over again, and at some point you would just hit a wall and your strength would fluctuate. One day you would be very strong and you would set a big PR. Then next time you came at the gym, you could barely do 3 reps instead of 5. And then you would be frustrated, you lost a few reps. Then next week you would be back to 5 maybe. And that I noticed that a lot of people had this problem, especially on pushing movements such as bench press and standing press. So the reason I chose straight sets is for you to better accumulate heavy reps. Because I noticed that if your goal is hypertrophy, the you only need to focus on accumulating enough heavy volume. Doing enough heavy reps will create the stimulus that will lead to strength gains and muscle growth. You will not lift weights that are as heavy as when you're doing reverse primary training, but you would do more of them. So the training stimulus is the same or maybe a little bit better. And by doing straight sets, you eliminate that problem of strength fluctuations, because even if you come back weaker the next session, you will be able to do the first and the second sets as planned, and that will not mess up with your mind, because uh, reverse primary training definitely can make you fear your workouts, your future workouts, as they um, you always have to push to the max. And yeah, that's the reason I chose straight sets. Question number 2. I noticed there is no ab workout in your program. Is it that my chest will be so massive that girls won't notice I I have abs? No, actually, uh, I didn't include any ab workouts in the program because I think that ab training isn't necessary if you do the big compound lifts and you gain strength over time. I noticed that abs don't grow unless you grow your other muscle groups. You'll never see a skinny guy that has really bulky, developed abs because they grow in harmony with the other muscle groups. And also, you will not see a really muscular guy that doesn't have abs. That doesn't happen. Now, some people may have slightly underdeveloped abs, and for them, doing some ab exercises could help. But for example, me, I haven't done ab exercises in the last 18 months, maybe once, twice a month. And when I did videos about abs, that is when I actually trained abs to show it to you guys. Um, I think, yeah, I think ab training is unnecessary and in the muscle and strength training pyramid. Eric Helms addressed the same issue. He didn't include any ab exercises either, and some people were asking about this, saying, "Hey, why is there no ab training?" And he also said that from his experience, he hasn't seen a bodybuilder that actually improved his abs by doing ab exercises directly. It's always a matter of body fat, and it's always a matter of getting strong on squats and deadlifts and standing press, those big compound movements that actually need uh, need your core to be stable to be able to lift those weights. But of course, you can train abs 2 or 3 times a week. That's fine. Okay, so I answered all the questions that I got on email. Now let's see the live questions that you're asking here. Okay, hey Radu, I have 3 questions. How much cardio should I do while losing fat? Um, First of all, cardio is not necessary for you to lose fat. Cardio in of itself doesn't burn fat. It's a tool to burn more calories. Um, I personally don't do any formal cardio except walking because if your goal is burning calories, any type of activity actually counts. You can walk, you can swim, you can do manual labor, you can do anything that burns some calories and makes that calorie deficit larger so you lose fat. But if you do want to do cardio, you should probably max out at 3 hours a week, 3 hours of moderate intensity cardio, such as running or maybe swimming, um, uh, elliptical, or other cardio machine at the gym. Doing more than that can sap your recovery, and you need to save that recovery for lifting weights. You don't want to spend too much time to you don't want to you're a weightlifter first. Put cardio as a lower priority type of exercise. And you can do if you do 2-3 hours of cardio per week, you can do pretty much anything you want. But if you go for higher intensity cardio, such as high intensity interval training, I would actually recommend maximum 3 sessions of 30 minutes because those are more taxing on your body. They are similar to weightlifting, and they can interfere with your leg workouts, and they can also make you more fatigued if you overdo it. 3 sessions of 30 minutes of high intensity interval training, such as um, cycling or uh, treadmill, that's perfect. Question number 2, is it advisable to consume protein right after your workout? Yes. You don't need to eat protein immediately after working out because then you would lose your gains, like some people in the gym say. But you do need to have protein in your bloodstream around your training for protein synthesis to be able to start. A meal before working out, let's say you had a meal 3 hours before going to the gym, you will still have amino acids in your bloodstream after you finish your workout. Protein synthesis can start even if you don't have a post-workout meal immediately after that. But if you train after an overnight fast, let's say that after 16 hours of fasting you train, then you don't have any amino acids in your bloodstream anymore. So after your workout, you are in a catabolic state and you do need to eat protein as soon as possible, I would say, in order to allow protein synthesis to start, because there is a leucine threshold that you need to pass for that to happen. In that case, I would recommend either getting a protein shake immediately after working out. If you are training fasted, uh, that would be advisable, or you can have a meal an hour after that. That's fine. Actually, protein synthesis doesn't increase very rapidly, like some people think. It only starts to increase about 3 hours after you after you finish your workout, and it actually peaks at 24 hours after the workout. So there is that that window of opportunity is not as small as people think. You don't need a protein shake immediately because you're going to lose your gains. You can actually delay that. You actually have about 24 hours, about maybe 36 hours for you to get your nutrients in and maximize most of the muscle growth response. Number 3, should I work out 6 days a week if I'm trying to cut? Uh, you can, but you don't need to. Um, Again, fat loss is about nutrition, is about maintaining a calorie deficit. You don't need to uh, training doesn't create fat loss. Training and any type of exercise burns calories that increases your calorie expenditure, and if you eat below what your body burns, then that is going to cause fat loss. If you work out 6 days a week in a deficit, that is not advisable because a calorie deficit is also a recovery deficit. You probably can't handle that much volume um, and still make strength gains. I noticed that in a deficit, if you keep your if you train 3 to 4 times a week, usually make better strength gains. 5 days a week is also fine uh, if you spread your volume intelligently, but 3 to 4 times a week is definitely uh, a good way to go. 6 days a week is overdoing it. You don't need that much training, especially on a cut. Okay, so I don't have any more questions here in the chat. If you want to ask, you want to ask some more questions, I'm gonna wait for you. All right, no more questions. Let's see the email. Okay. Apparently, there are no more questions. If that's it, I think we're gonna wrap it up here for this week. I hope you enjoyed this Q&A. It was definitely not my best. Um, I'm sure that my answers are not as well thought as in my videos, because I actually write my videos before I film them, exactly for the reason of not having long pauses to think and to organize the information in a way that you um, understand it easily. Uh, but hey, next time, I hope for the next Q&A, I'm going to be at home. I'll be out of the hospital, and I'll be able to focus better and to give you better answers. Until next week, make sure that you use the priority support option. If you have any questions, send them there. I monitor that email address as well as my team, and we will give you an answer in less than 24 hours. Thank you, and I will see you next week. Bye bye.